just don't know what to do here. Alright, anyway, let's deactivate angry mode first. Everything's set up to where it should be. Alright, so we're going to be doing another speed run of Uzi Nelson, 80%, no angry mode again. Hopefully I can talk straight this time and hopefully make it sound presentable. Anyway, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Anyway, Rival Turf is the first installment of the Russian Beat series. It's known in Japan as Russian Beat. The ultimate goal of this game is to rescue Norton's sister from Kintark, aka Big Al in this version. The gang in general is called Jokal. In the States, elsewhere it's called Street Kings. So the ultimate goal is pretty much put an end to this gang and their creation of the drug that enhances fighters. Apparently it's what got Norton's sister kidnapped in general for investigations. Of course, there's a lot of bad guys to fight. Of course, Russian Beat series is probably one of the only known series in the entire Joe Kyle's library that's very well known in general. Unfortunately, I wound up powerbombing this warrior. Thankfully, he went down, but technically we do not want to be doing the powerbomb because enemies do have invincibility frames when you execute it, so it's probably not a good idea to perform that. So anyway, we're on the bus. We're going to wipe out all these enemies and then set up the next group to come over here. We're going to use Nelson's special to knock most of them down, and then take out this warrior with a throw. Do the same thing with this bullet. Now we can do the same thing with this group here. And that takes care of them. So we're going to attack this bush right here. Now, pretty interesting fact is that when it comes to throwing weapons with knives and bricks, if you're playing as Black, you can easily throw them and hit enemies right in front of him, but Nelson has to position himself on higher planes in order to land any hits with those weapons. But that's okay, we're not really going to be focusing on utilizing weapons with the characters, but it's probably best to get rid of them so they don't rack up lag. Now, normally I get rid of that skinny right now. Now, as long as you're doing jump attacks, you do not take any damage until you hit the ground. So you can use that to avoid getting hit, as well as use run attacks because you do have some iframes. Unfortunately, I got very unlucky. When you're using regular attacks, you want to attack pretty fast, so they don't break your chain. Enemies can do that if you're not very careful or lucky. So we're coming up to Genie. It's pretty easy. All we have to do is just do this. That resets our chain. And we do have to keep an eye out for any enemies that are coming right behind us. But that's okay, we just won. So taking that damage doesn't matter much to us. So that's how you fight Genie in this first stage. So we're basically going on to stage 2. Of course, this stadium's a very well-known place if you're living in California. So as you can see here, he was able to hit this enemy thanks to rifle positioning. We're going to use stun locking methods as well to rack up as much damage as possible. And we do have to keep an eye out for Skinnies and Reggies throwing dynamite. They will hit us if they have very huge range. Ow, that Reggie just kicked us right behind us. Ouch. Let's get rid of the dynamite. Sometimes the martial artist will throw jump kicks, do a backwards jump kick to not only avoid you, but attack you at the same time, so you do have to be careful there. This is the first encounter with the Arnolds, and later on their counterparts, the Gigantes. They hit pretty high damage, so you want to be very, very careful. Of course, skinnies can hit you like pretty crazy themselves. So what makes the Nelson run very good is stun locking with the grapple strike, then resetting our chain attack. And then of course canceling our chain attack also works too. This makes him more of a go-to character than Black is, because Black has tons of consistencies with his stuff. Ooh, barely survived by the skin of the teeth there. That takes care of these guys, so we're gonna wipe out this one right here. Ooh, we got them both at the same time. Hopefully that will go down. Nope. Skinny survive. I mean, the Case survives. Come on, Case. We'll do the Hurricanrana. That's gonna be our go-to throw for most of the game. I do want to burn some of that special so that so we don't have a huge score going into the stage 4 a little bit later on. So anyway, we just made it past the second part of stage 2. Now we're going to the final part, which is the parking lot. But yeah, Jalco is not a very well-known, very famous for a lot of its games. They used to be an arcade maker, and then they switched to consoles in the early 90s. They were probably the first to do so. Before everyone else did. Nintendo probably has it more earlier if we were not to include them, but Nintendo probably switched to home consoles pretty much earlier than most of the video game companies do. Okay, where are you, Goro? We do have to be careful though, because Goros can do flying jump kicks, so we do not want them hitting us when they do that. So once we get past this group, we're going to take out this Skinny with a grapple strike, then throw him. Yeah, some of these enemies have some pretty cheap animations or weird things that let them cheese you out pretty quickly. But one way you can tell whether or not an enemy is going to attack you is if they move diagonally in a very fast pace. If enemies decide to basically avoid you, they'll move quickly backwards, or they'll go into a box formation, wait until you get distracted so they can attack you. Ouch. That hurt. That hurt pretty badly, I might add. But that happens all the time. I mean, you can't expect perfection in speedruns, not all the time. It's very rare to get a very good run going on. Ouch, I got knocked out. Boy. So anyway, once you beat these enemies, we're going to take on Sledge. Sledge is pretty finicky. He's pretty easy to beat out of all the bosses in this game. But at the same time, you do not want to be at the receiving end of his flying elbow or whatever the heck he's doing there. And he does pretty hefty damage, almost roughly half of what you would of your life bar, pretty much. As long as you're not in that range of that attack, you're pretty much safe. So as long as you keep him in that position, you'll wipe Sledge out pretty quickly. So we're moving on to stage 3. This is the final stage in the LA area, or as it's called, Neo Frisco in Japan. So anyway, the difficulty starts picking up pretty much right here. We are going to be fighting a lot of enemies here until we get to the rooftop, and Slasher kind of raises the bar for boss difficulty. And that'll be a pretty good indicator as to what you'd expect with other bosses coming up for the rest of the game. Alright, we're going to wipe out that enemy, and then we're going to wipe out these guys. Alright, down they go. Rah! Yeah, I know that Arnold's still there. Yeah, I thought I lined it up perfectly. But yeah, you do have to be careful though, because you will get punished if you get too aggressive. At the same time, you can't just be fearing about what the enemy's going to do to you. You either attack or commit, or get punished, and you fail. But regardless, you do want to get faster times. You do have to make some pretty difficult decisions on how you proceed. Ooh, he DDT'd me or fisherman suplexed me to oblivion, obviously. Anyway, let's wipe out these last two enemies, and then we'll move on to the final part of Stage 3. We'll position our character right there, and that's going to lead us to a lift. We don't have to do anything on this one, obviously. Alright, we're going to take out these skinnies and get this chicken. It's going to refill our health, which is pretty nice given the fact that our health was pretty low to begin with. So anyway, the Louis and Butches are pretty nasty enemies. They're most of the time passive, but when they do commit to attacking, they will do pretty hefty damage with their attacks. Even their palm slap does quite a bit, just like the Arnold's. And their elbow drop almost guarantees wiping out your entire health bar, pretty much, if you're not careful. So we're going to position our character right here, and then hit both of these enemies with that. We're going to be going around here. Yeah, it's surprising how Skinny avoided taking any damage there. Unfortunately, we took another death, unfortunately. Yeah, that's what happens when you commit yourself to being aggressive. So anyway, Slasher is the boss for Stage 3. We do have to watch out for that Goro that appears from behind us. And Slasher's going to be hitting us pretty hard with those axe handles. Luckily, we bought some time. And unfortunately, the enemy's just ganged up on us right there. Now, we want to wipe down his health to the point where he goes to orange, which is his final health bar, and switches from axe handles to kicks instead. Playing it a little bit safe because, unfortunately, we do have some issues going on with Slasher and his pals. We got through that just quickly, even though we lost 2 lives, unfortunately. That's just how bad things can get pretty quickly, especially with Goros, Skinnies, chases, and eventually Butches also join in as well. So moving on to Stage 4, assuming if we don't lose any more lives, we're going to be going to the Amazons of South America. And we're going to be going through there for most of the game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get it 1cc like we did earlier tonight, so unfortunately, my apologies in advance if that happens. But our main goal, of course, is to make sure we do keep our characters alive until we reach Stage 5-2, and that's going to be where we're going to be accessing our other warp zone. We may have to play it safe, but that's very important if we're doing this for a marathon setting. Even if it means losing some time, but sometimes it's more better to be very careful as to how many enemies you're dealing with, rather than going fast. But sometimes you do need to be fast, and of course with AGDQ events, you want to go fast. down he goes. Back to 30 again. Nice try, Case. Too bad he's not called Queso. Love making food puns. Okay, it looks like we might need to get 2 more enemies defeated, then do a special, and then go to the warp. So if you don't have an even 30 by then, you can also, there's backups just in case. There we go. I want to make sure we didn't hit that Reggie because that would have ruined everything. So we go into these warp zones right here. Try to break this statue right there. Now, 2 of those warp zones for stage 1 and 6 were removed. Only 4-2 and 5-2 remain. And you have to have specific scores to activate them. Whew! At least I didn't get kicked there. Man, what is going on here? Alright, that takes care of all the enemies. We do not want to be triggering any more specials if we can. And that's because we're saving the one for one more later on. So anyway, we do have to be very careful when dealing with Reggie and Kato. Kato more particularly needs to be dealt with a little bit with careful hands, obviously. Woo! We got a dynamite finish. Nice. Let's go. Alright, time for Captain. We have to be very careful when fighting Captain because we do not want to trigger his bullets summons, so we do not want to wipe him out. So we'll have to use more safer strats to fight him than our normal methods. The more riskier method revolves around chain attacking, low blow, stun hit, and doing Frankensteiners. I almost said the one word, which I don't think would fly on an AGDQ stream. So my apologies in advance. So thankfully we're doing pretty darn well, and that bullet is cooperating at least. Sometimes if I don't get that right, he'll like literally cause problems. Now we do not want him choke slamming us, which is probably the worst case scenario when that happens, because that eats up almost 5 to 10 seconds if he does that. Oh wow, we took out both of them at the same time? Well, yay me, I guess. Alright, we're going to the pre-ultimate stage. So we're on stage 5, so Cho'Gath is going to send all their minions at us at full force. Darn those enemies, they just love to break out of everything here. Woo, we got 2 at once, let's go. Of course, that Goro's still living. Hopefully not for long. We're just going to force him to try to jump kick us, because we don't want to be being on the receiving end of his jump kick. And they're more vulnerable when you do that too. So we're going to use the stun method on Butch here and Louis. Believe it or not, all these characters have different names when playing the Japanese version, of course. Unfortunately, we're suffering lag now because of the grenade, obviously. Stay out of my way! Yeah, I'm playing a little bit cautiously because I don't want to take a game over before we hit that warp zone. I was very lucky last time not having to worry about that, obviously, but you have to be very careful when fighting enemies in Rival Turf because they can just pull things right out of nowhere and you might get punished for it without warning. So yeah, we're going to wipe out the Skinny here and then take out all of his buddies that come in. Yeah, I try not to do the forward jump against the Goros, and that's because if you do that, they will do a reverse jump kick, and you could get punched for that on your way down. Alright, I'm gonna have to take the power bomb. Oh yeah, I'm playing this a little bit safe so we don't have issues for later on. Whew! At least this time around I didn't have to use the special before getting to this point. So if you hadn't used the special up until now, this is where to use it. Take out both of these Reggies. So once that's done, you have to raise your score to 66. So we're back down to the 50s again. But yeah, these enemies can be pretty difficult if you're not very careful. Oh, that was cheap! They decided to go after me. I paid the price too. Yeah, believe it or not, you can fake your last attack if you're good enough. Like that. Yeah, believe it or not, that's actually used in tasks, believe it or not, in this game. Alright, so we got 66 points, so just hold up and jump when you do that, and you'll be in this warp zone. And if your health's been declining up to that point, you'll get a refill after completing this bonus stage. And we'll finish off the last of 5-2, and we're going directly to start 5-3. Now, at this point, we can use our specials whenever we want them to now. We don't really need to save them for warp zones. Powerbomb for the victory! Let's go! Alright, so there's Iceman, but we gotta fight off all of his minions. Starting on this part, we have to start dealing with 2 Louis that have orange life bars. Now, unfortunately, since I did that powerbomb, we cannot hit Louis for a bit. Same thing goes with the Gigante here. But eventually they will become vulnerable again. But yeah, Jalco made a lot of oversights on this game when they localized it, obviously. I don't know how the Japanese version plays, to be honest, since I never played it. Hopefully, if anyone does know, feel free to let me know. But technically, I play the US version for the most part. Let's lure Louis in here so we don't have to play chicken, obviously. Down and out for that case. So we are on our last life, so we can use specials, which we'll do right here. Now, you can use specials to avoid getting hit here. Yeah, but luckily these guys don't have a whole lot of vitality, so you can still wipe them out pretty easily. Okay, you're not very cooperative, Skitties. Okay, now we're fighting Iceman. So, there's 2 ways to fight Iceman. You can do this, and do what I just did earlier. Alright, so I don't trust myself there. If he charges like that, you can also attack him during that charge. We have to wait until the iframes wear off. But technically there's plenty of ways to fight Iceman, believe it or not. Believe it or not, Josh the Flunk Dog discovered this. This method I'm using is something I discovered, of course. But thankfully, there's plenty of ways to make Iceman vulnerable. So don't assume he's invincible because he can do all those spin kicks and that jazz. But yeah, when he charges at you, he will be vulnerable to being hit. So take full advantage of that if you're planning to speedrun this game. So anyway, we're back to Jokal's space. And here we go. We got a boss rush coming up. So we gotta deal with Genie, Slasher, and Iceman again, as well as Big Al. I'm not gonna make any guarantees we'll have no continues for this run, but if we do, amen to that. So anyway, we're going to take out the welcoming community, and then we're going to be seeing the laboratories. In the Japanese version, Jokal creates drugs to strengthen martial artists, and the leader of Jokal is actually obsessed with getting stronger. So he went out of his way to create these drugs to give him the Ikari mode, obviously, that we use. Apparently you can do that, certain martial artists can do that, like, Oh, hey, Infinite Mystery, how are ya? Hope you're having a good day. Anyway, we're coming up to Genie. We're going to use the same strats we did against him. My apologies, I'll be talking to everyone in a bit once I get a chance. Ooh, that's not good. I'm doing well. Anyway, we defeated Genie. Normally, I would do a lot better on that one. Usually I get 2 punches, then do the special there. So anyway, we're gonna be fighting these enemies. If you do need health, there is some chicken hiding behind this pillar. We're gonna hold off on that until we do need it. But yeah, one thing you do not want to be doing is power bombing. You will get punished for that because enemies do love to take full advantage of invincibility frames. Whew, at least I didn't have to worry about picking them up again. Ouch! I got smacked by a kick. Alright, so you have to be very careful when dealing with warriors. Thankfully, this is the last part of the game you have to deal with these enemies. Ooh! No way! No, that was my throwing dynamite too. Alright, unfortunately we're not going to have any specials, unfortunately. For those of you that are just joining us, the reason why I'm doing this commentary, it's to help myself get ready for the submissions for AGDQ coming up when the announcements do arrive, so I can have these ready for submissions. So basically, we did lose all of our specials, so we're going to have to regain all of them again, but we do have 5 lives. Technically, your continues are basically your additional lives, since we don't have the ability to properly continue, unfortunately. Now, right around here, we would have actually picked up, this would have been another warp zone, I believe. I think we went past it, actually, but right around here, we would have had, plenty of usage right there. So we have a rematch with the Slasher. Unlike the first one, we do need to wipe out him and his cornies. And unfortunately, he can do those axe handles, so that's bad news if he decides to go into axe handle city, obviously. And unfortunately, even if I do attack fast enough, these guys do love to get their way, obviously. Yeah, we've reduced his health to the point where he starts doing the kicks now. Yeah. This makes power bombing a lot more sense for this fight. But yeah, unfortunately, the enemies, they don't go away when Slasher goes down. So you do want to take them, you have to take them out as well. This is no joke, I might add. But yeah, it's a very difficult fight overall because unlike most boss counters, most of the enemies flee the moment their boss goes down. But Slasher 2 is pretty much the sole exception to that rule. Yeah, I'm not going after you, Kato. Come to me. But yeah, I hope your day's been well, Infinite Mystery. Hopefully you'll get your internet fixed and everything. So anyway, we're coming up to the third and final part of this stage. Thankfully, this is the last time we have to fight the martial artist. Yeah, thankfully, this is the last time we have to fight any of these enemies. Woo, we got 2 for 1. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to be fighting Iceman again. So there's plenty of ways to fight him, like I showed earlier. You can do a running attack after you dodge that. But you do want to defeat him on the right-hand side, so make sure that's done before you finish him off. Just use the access to avoid his kick and then return fire. But yeah, sometimes he'll break out of the chain attacks. You can also position yourself like this, and you can get some hits in. No, I do not want him... Oh, how did he do that? How dare he? What a cheapskate. But yeah, you do want Iceman defeated on the right-hand side, so we don't have him walking all the way over there to advance. So do be very careful when you're fighting Iceman again on that stage. So once he's defeated, you will advance over here and fight the last bullets, cases, and Reggies and Skinnies. Those, the Reggie and Skinny, of course, do have dynamites, so we do have to be careful. Ooh, almost lost my health. Lost a life there. Alright. Please stay down, Reggie. Oh, dareth he survived that. Well, here's your dynamite. Bye. Alright, so we finally got past that bunch. So we're going to be going on to fighting Big Al. We don't have to beat Butch unless he decides to be a jerk and interfere with our fight. But anyway, fighting Kintark / Big Al really depends on how much damage you deal to him. The more damage you deal to him, he'll trigger his angry mode pretty quickly. We want him to waste his angry mode as much as possible. So basically when he does that, he's wasting his time. So you can do all sorts of methods against him as long as you remember to keep track of how much damage you're dealing on him, because he will not hesitate to go into angry mode without warning. So we're going to let him burn his angry mode. Should be done after this. Whew. Now mostly he focuses mostly on throwing us for the most part. So the method I use is pretty much, basically you want to get as much damage on him. But I'm playing it a little bit safe since we want to burn out his angry mode pretty quickly. And of course, the more he does that, the more easier it becomes. Alright, that's victory for us. But yeah, Big Al focuses mostly on throwing. He does do the mouth fireball as well as the Falcon Dive Punch. But anyway, that's it, and this is the ending of Rival Turf for the localized version. The Japanese version is actually much longer than what you see here. It also kind of reveals Big Al being the father of Jack Flack and his sister Heather. Oh, thank you for the GG's Infinite Mystery. Yeah, I'm probably going to submit Angry and No Angry modes for Nelson. I just cannot. I did try to go for Flack, and it just did not work very well for me. Flack is very hard to utilize in a speedrun, given my personal experience. I know Vance Velas did a no deathless run of him. Kudos to him, by the way. Alright, there we go. We'll put that as AGDQ.